Hello and welcome to another weekly vlog. This is me a week on from when I recorded the original video. So what I'm doing is I'm re-recording something I recorded a week ago because I've lost the file and I can't give you the context to the next couple of videos without putting this one in. I tried to do it with text, too much to say, so I had to do it like this. There'll only be about 3 video clips this week because I haven't videoed all week. As I said at the end of last week, we've all been isolating for 10 days because Isaac played with a child that tested positive for COVID that same evening. Just realised my window's open, so if anyone's outside they'll hear me. Basically, I was a bit frustrated because the child that had tested positive was out of the house wearing a mask. Okay, so that's where I left it last week. So what I found out the next morning after I'd finished updating you at the end of last week from Isaac is this child that tested positive the same evening was wearing a mask while they were in the garden, and her mother said to her, and my neighbour said to her, "Don't be silly, take that off." No, sorry, but the neighbour said, "Take that, don't be silly, you don't have to wear a mask in my house, take that off." So she took the mask off. She had come with all her family, none of them were wearing masks, this one girl was. So obviously anybody in their right mind is going to think, so does that mean that they knew she had symptoms? They were waiting on a test? They got the results of this test at like almost midnight, and I'm thinking, well, that's weird. A lateral flow test takes half an hour. Are you going to have a 5-year-old up at 11:30 at night, feeling completely fine doing a lateral flow? Apparently she just had a stuffy nose. So that's the story we were given. She had no symptoms whatsoever, and she had a stuffy nose when she went home. So I let it go, wait for a phone call from this woman to tell me about the positive test and to make sure Isaac's tested. Nothing came, nobody phoned, no track and trace, all week. So this woman hasn't gone through the correct procedures. So my neighbour texted me about something, and I said to her that I felt it was very irresponsible of her friend to come down to her house, given that she's high risk, with a child wearing a mask, with a child that she thought might have had symptoms. She said, then she phoned me. I fucking hate people phoning me. She phoned me on WhatsApp. And she says, "Oh, I thought I'd phone because sometimes things don't come across very well in writing." Oh, what she said was that the child was fine, she had no symptoms, but then that night she goes, "Mammy," I hear that, "Mammy, my nose feels a bit funny." So they lateral flow tested her at 11:30, 5 years old. And I says, yeah, I says, that's what I assumed had happened, that it was lateral flow that evening. I said, but when Isaac got up this morning, he told me that she was wearing a mask. No, she wasn't. I says she was, and Isaac had been able to tell me what was on the mask and everything. "Oh, right, yeah, oh, yes, she was." First of all, she said, no, she wasn't. No, she pretended she didn't know. Oh, was she? Was she? And I says, yeah, and Isaac said that you told her to take it off. Now, she misheard what I'd said because it must have broke up, and she says, oh yeah, her mum told her to take it off. We've gone from, was she wearing a mask, to, oh yeah, her mum told her to take it off. And I repeated, no, Isaac said that you told her to take it off. Oh, well, yeah, I did tell her to take it off. Get where I'm coming from? Was she? Her mum did. I did. So we've 2 lies so far. Oh, well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe she lied to her mammy about having symptoms. So I'm like, right. And I just let her waffle on. And 5 minutes after I hung up the phone to her, my WhatsApp started ringing, the mother of the child. And I said to Darren, I'm in no mood. I says, you're going to have to speak to this woman because I'm going to lose my rag. Darren spoke to her. And he said straight out, because obviously my neighbour had phoned her to tell her what I had said, and she had phoned straight back to have a go at me. And Darren says, can I ask why she was wearing a mask? She wasn't wearing a mask, and she was quite rude about it. She wasn't wearing. My children don't wear masks. My children are healthy. That my children don't wear masks. Darren says she was wearing a mask because our neighbour, Alicia, your friend, told her to take it off. She's just said that. Oh, well, what? I don't know why she was wearing a mask. But you just said she didn't wear them. Well, I don't know. Children do these things. And then we were able to say what was on. Well, that's just a mask she has in the car. Thought they didn't wear masks. No, 100% she wasn't wearing a mask. Well, I don't know why she was wearing a mask. And these people are angry at me for asking questions. So that is what I had said. It went back and forth. She then started sending loads. She hung up. She started sending back tons of like quite rude WhatsApp messages. Are you trying to say that my daughter has given your son COVID? She didn't know. She thought that her daughter testing positive at 11:30 p.m. meant that at 8 p.m. the same evening she didn't have the virus, so she couldn't have passed it on to Isaac. When Darren said, no, you'll have to go back to anywhere you've been for the previous 2 days at least. They said, and I would go back further. And like if you've been to the shop, if you've been to the chapel, because the excuse that my neighbour gave about them wearing masks was, oh, maybe they'd been to chapel. I don't go to chapel. What are you talking about chapel? I don't even go to chapel. But then later, once she had time to confer with the neighbour, all of a sudden she was at chapel, but she was outside in the car. So every word we've had has been lies. Track and Trace never contacted us the whole week, which means she hasn't reported it. She is really angry at me for daring to say that I thought she was irresponsible. She's saying, well, loads of people don't have symptoms. Tons of people don't have symptoms, and I didn't know. We didn't know. She wouldn't have been out of the house if we'd known. Well, my argument is, and as I said to her, I said, you're not understanding. I said, what I'm trying to say is, you think that prior to 11:30 p.m. she was not infected. She will have been infected for at least 2 days. You need to let people know. I said, you should have picked up the phone on Sunday and phoned us and told us, and you didn't. We could have asked you the questions then, which would have told us that she had no symptoms at 8 p.m. But given that nobody phoned us to tell us, and we found out she was wearing a mask, and she was the only one in the family wearing a mask that night, and then she goes on to test positive that same evening, what was any parent going to think? I said, if that was your child, playing with a neighbour in a garden, that child was wearing a mask and then they tested positive for COVID the same night, you would have questions, and I wouldn't expect any less as a parent. Haven't heard from her since. But she thinks I'm in the wrong and that I'm nasty. And this is last week's vlog, so I do apologise, but I'm going to say this now while I'm getting it out. Today's day 10, so we're allowed out tomorrow. Next door neighbour and the kids are out today playing with the kids across the road because she can't count to 10. Anyway, I will cut back on at the point that my original video cut off. I lost that original video, but the next time this next video that comes up is me talking last week. I just wanted to give you context. Well, I've got a 10-year-old with blinding headaches that are making him cry and he's vomiting. And she thinks I've time to listen to her sending shitty WhatsApp messages. Well, how do you know? So you're trying to say? It's like, yeah, I am trying to say, because every word that's come out of your mouth so far has been a lie. So yes, I am trying to say that. I've had it with people talking shite and lying to me. And then people forget what they've said, and then they lie. I can't take people that lie and are false and don't say what they think. And I just seem to be surrounded with them. I can't be doing with it at all. So yeah, I've come to the conclusion I'm just going to not answer any messages from her now, because she's just going to be nasty about it, and we haven't done anything wrong. I mean, I said to Darren, if the situation were reversed and Isaac was playing with someone and then he tested positive, I'd feel awful and I would be straight on that phone. Even if he'd no symptoms, I would be straight on the phone apologising and saying, I'm really sorry, but we'd no idea. You make sure that you get your child tested, and I would be on the phone. She didn't contact us until she wanted to shout about the fact I had said I thought she was irresponsible. Didn't contact us before then, although this person has only ever contacted me once. I don't even know her. She's friends with my neighbour. She got my number from a group WhatsApp, a school WhatsApp. Her daughter's in my son's class. She contacted me one day to ask for her daughter to be given a lift because it was too warm for her to walk down the hill to collect her and walk back up. Can we give her a lift home? It's the only time she's ever phoned me. But she couldn't phone me to tell me that her child had tested positive for COVID and my son needed to be tested. Didn't bother. And we're in the wrong here. Anyway, that's what's happening today. I'll get off this because Darren wants to make his tea. He's hungry. I don't have much of an appetite because this sort of thing stresses me and gets to me. Darren has this innate ability that I wish I had of switching off and going, she's an idiot, ignore her, just forget about it. And he can do exactly that. He can switch off, ignore it, forget about it. I can't. It winds me up. because she knows so many people in our community. She's going to go about and tell half a story. The story will be, they have accused me of knowing that my child had COVID and deliberately giving it to Isaac. When the story is, all we did was ask the question. If she tested positive for COVID that day and was wearing a mask, did she have symptoms? That's it. That's all we asked. And that's the worst thing in the world to have asked anyone. So no doubt my neighbour will be on the phone later to go on about it. It was there like very close, so she'll obviously support. And the thing is, my neighbour's high risk. She's on steroids, so she has not been able to have her vaccinations, and this child has been around her and has COVID. And she's a single parent, and if anything happens to her, the kids are up shit creek. And she's not in the slightest bit annoyed about it. But if a person blatantly lies to your face when you've asked them a question, how are you meant to believe anything else that they're saying to you? You know what I mean? It's like, I can't take liars. They're always... People that are dishonest about things think... And I'm not just talking about this person now, I'm just talking generally. When people are dishonest, I think it shines out of them. I think it's really obvious. And something that's very true about people that lie is they lie so much they forget what they lie about, so they'll tell you a completely different story, hence how you know they're lying. Enough of my complaining. That is what's happening this week, so the vlog will be not very interesting at all. It will just be increasing levels of me being angry. We've sent away Isaac's PCR test today. So what we decided was, I did a lateral flow test today, because me and Darren have no symptoms, so lateral flow is the right one to use, and I'm negative. But Isaac could very well come back negative, and then he could do it in 3 days and come back positive. Me and Darren weren't in contact with this person, so we will definitely be negative if Isaac's negative, so that's what we're following. But given the headaches and the being sick, I'm hoping it isn't COVID, because apparently it's quite rife in our area at the moment. One of our neighbours, Isaac's friend Oscar's mother, said that both of her neighbours either side have it, and they're actually all laid up in bed ill, and they've been double vaccinated, so it's a bit scary. So yeah, I'll get off this now and stop whinging. Oh god, I've whinged for 15 minutes. Right, thank you for listening, guys. Sometimes you just need to get it off your throat, off your chest, sorry. I'll check in later in the week, guys. Hello, this is just me ending off last week's vlog because I didn't record anything for the entirety of the week. We were isolating for 10 days. Today's actually the last day. I'm on the following week on Tuesday. I'm just filming this close off now. So thankfully we'll be able to go back out tomorrow. We're still being careful, obviously, because it's rampant at the minute here. There's loads of people getting it, and I'm not surprised with some people's attitude. My mum had a real issue with her carers this week, which was just awful. This is going to run out before I get to finish. She has this thing called a steady. I will try and find a picture and put it in for you to let you see. It's basically a thing that the carers managed to put her onto to take her to and from the toilet, where she leans back on this thing and she's got things she holds on to. My mum can't walk at all, but because in the morning she's really groggy with medication, and they come really early as well. One of them says, oh, I think you might be needing a hoist soon, Kathleen, and she says, oh, has it come to that? Oh dear. So anyway, they put this rule in that the carers couldn't use her steady to take her to the bathroom. The camera's definitely on the way out, it just keeps switching off for no reason. Anyway, so basically they took the steady off her, and they didn't take it off her, they wouldn't use it, and there was no hoist, so the entire weekend no one took her to the bathroom. My dad's in really bad health, he's not able to push the steady and to get my mum on and off, but he was forced to have to. And he's wrecked himself. Obviously I couldn't leave the house, I was in isolation. Plus I'm not able to do it either. She has 2 carers that come to do this. Me and my dad are both not strong, not in good health, bad joints. And they left her all week. All weekend, and says, oh well, that's what the social worker has said, you're under assessment, we can't use the steady. And I'm like, the social worker hasn't even met her. How can she assess that she's not fit to use this? And why has she done this just on a weekend so that no one can be reached? So my dad called them up on Monday morning. I know this is supposed to be last week's vlog, but I'll tell you, because this week's so short, I'll tell you this week. And they said, oh right, well what we'll do is we'll get someone to come out tomorrow to assess. No, you won't, my dad said. You will get someone here today, now, this morning, to assess her. And basically told them what he thought. and how this is not caring. What's caring about this? You've left my wife all weekend. And my mum had actually asked when one of them, could you please take me to the toilet? I'm desperate to go. No, we're not allowed to. So she came out, and the social worker that made the decision didn't come out. She sent someone else. She sent an OT, an occupational therapist, who said that who I've had dealings with before, and she's crap. Well, I don't see that there's any issue. You're fine to use the steady, so it should never have been taken off her. And she said, right, well, I'll get that put back in place. And my dad said, this was 11 o'clock on Monday morning. My dad said, right, when they come back at 1:30, I want my wife to be taken to the toilet on the steady, like you've just told me she will be. I'll get that put in place right away. Carers come 1:30. Oh, well, we haven't heard anything yet. Left again, refused to do it. My dad phoned up. Amazingly, the person he needed to speak to wasn't available to speak to him. When they came back at 4, things were back in place, but she went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and up until 4 o'clock on Monday afternoon, where they refused to take her to the bathroom. They took away the means of taking her, and they didn't provide the other means that they said she needed. So needless to say, this weekend was extremely stressful for everyone. I couldn't get in. My dad was just having to do stuff he couldn't do. God knows what he's done to his back and his health. My mum was completely stressed and upset. So they were basically saying that she had to stay in bed all weekend and not get out. And my dad's not going to do that to her. But it was stressful. So this past week, with isolation, with the woman that caused the isolation phoning to kick off, I've just had such a crap week. So it's probably just as well that I haven't vlogged this week. But yeah, hopefully this week shall be a little better. Wednesday we're allowed to go back out again. So I shall bring you with me to VR City on Wednesday with Isaac, Ruben and Darren. And yeah, hopefully we'll have a little bit more of a positive week this week. Thank you for watching this whingy weekly vlog. Over and out from Kit and Caboodle.